So the problem in cybersecurity and education right now is there's a serious disconnect between what the workforce needs and what cybersecurity education does to try and meet those needs. So as an academic, my brethren and sisterin, when we try to say, okay, we want to develop cybersecurity professionals and cybersecurity education, we say, all right, well, what's a cybersecurity professional look like? And here we have a model cybersecurity professional. I know that's the case. I did a Google search for cybersecurity warrior. This guy came up, right? So what's a cybersecurity warrior? Has certain computer skills, understands how computers work, understands how network works, TCP/IP, voice over IP, understands basic operating systems, has to have some understanding of coding, several different languages, understand Linux as well as Windows, and we get all of that. We get that listing of all those things that a cybersecurity professional should have. And then instead of educating them, we build them the same way Frankenstein was built. We take pieces and we say, okay, you need to know Linux. We have a class and we learn Linux, right? And we give you that class, and that class is, first quarter. And then you go to the next semester and then you learn some Windows, and then you learn some programming, and then you learn some networking in Cisco. And you learn all of those bits and pieces as pieces throughout your education. And the problem is, most people do the flush method at the end of a class. They forget it anyway. Even the things I teach, if I'm not constantly doing it, if I don't teach something for two semesters or 3, by the time I teach it again, I've forgotten it. So we teach them stuff, but we don't keep them engaged in it, and we don't do it organically. So we put them together piece by piece, and then the Frankenstein we create doesn't really look like the professional we originally discussed that we should create. A survey was done of companies, said that 50% of the people that applied for their job didn't have the qualifications. Of the people who did apply that had the qualifications, 50% of those people didn't know what the job was they were applying for. Like, they couldn't explain, like a cyber defense analyst. I'm applying for it. I have a degree in cybersecurity. Okay, what are you thinking to be doing on a daily basis? No idea. Could not explain it, could not articulate it, right? 40% didn't have the hands-on experience. They had the theory, but they didn't have hands-on experience in the thing that they were trying to apply for. And I can go on and on, right? And I can also go on about 3 million jobs are predicted to be needed by 2020. Currently, we graduate about 15,000 people specifically in cybersecurity, right? We have computer scientists and stuff like that, but specifically in cybersecurity, about 15,000, right? Mathematically, it's just not gonna, you can't do it, right? We're in a serious crisis, and even those that we're creating aren't necessarily ready for the workforce. But I bring this slide up for one particular reason. Does anybody know how many different job roles have been identified in cybersecurity? Guess? Job roles? So there are 52 different distinct job roles in cybersecurity. There isn't a professor I can find anywhere. There isn't a person at NIST that can list all 52 jobs. So when as a professor, if I'm told I have to teach cybersecurity and prepare people for the cybersecurity workforce, what does that mean? And how is it possible, if I can't tell you what the 52 job roles, how can I tell you if I'm preparing them for it, or which of those job roles I'm preparing them for? Maybe I'm just preparing you for 2, 3, 10, 15, or this section, that section. So, so there's 33 specialty areas and, come on, there we go, 52 job roles. So some of the reasons for the disconnect. Yes, there's 52 job roles. We start too late. Right? We're teaching cybersecurity at a high level at the higher ed level, but we need to be going back into earlier time. We can't start there. There are people, the other year ago I saw on CNN, I think it was, 5-year-old kid hack the Xbox so he can get past the parental controls. Right? Good going, kid. Right? But I mean, we have to start earlier. Hands-on experience. We have to make sure we're given the theory. We're not falling short on giving the students theory. We're falling short on making sure they get appropriate hands-on experience. And many don't know what's possible. If I don't know what the 52 roles are, how can I have a proper discussion with a student and say, you know what? You look like you're heavier on policy. You're a good writer. You have attention to detail. I think you'd make a good policy person. Or somebody who loves figuring out puzzles. You know, you might be a good cyber defense analyst, right? I need to know what the options are so that I can identify the color of the parachute. Start young. We have to reach back and start young and diverse. You know, gone are the days where it's like, oh, let's just have the boys play with the erector sets and the girls play with the T sets, right? We want to reach out. So one of the things that we do is we have a Gen Cyber Camp. So if you have any middle school to early high school students, children, highly recommend getting involved with our Gen Cyber Camp over the summer. We have 250 Girl Scouts. Now, if they're not Girl Scouts when they start the camp, they're not Girl Scouts at the time when they want to join the camp. By the time they join the camp, they get sworn in or whatever, they become a Girl Scout. So we have 250 Girl Scouts. We teach them everything from, we have them meet people from Facebook, Google, Northrop Grumman, DHS, who am I missing? Did I say Cisco? I said Cisco, SigmaNet, you name. We have people come from all over so that they can meet positive role models that are doing interesting, exciting things in cybersecurity. Here we do drones. As I said, drones are the future. Drones are the future, right? And not just the flying ones, right? Self-driving cars, they're not coming, they're here. About 15%, something like that, maybe 20% of the economy is built around transportation, right? So all those jobs with transportation are going to start to slowly dwindle away. Because if I can get a self-driving car that's not going to fall asleep at the wheel or unionize or need to take a break, that's where companies are going to be going, right? So we teach them about drones, and drones for cybersecurity, that's a boon to my business. Oh, love it. Why? Right? Because if a person's not driving it, what's driving it? Software, a computer, and a computer, that's what I hack, right? So you have the problem right now of terrorism. It's all over the place. It's rampant. It's happening all the time, right? And if I can't get a gun, terrorists are getting vehicles. What if I could hack, like I hack computers, hack vehicles? I can hack a computer. I can hack 10,000, 20,000 computers, and they all work in sync. What happens if I can hack 10 or 20 trucks? Now they go where I tell them with my payload. It's possible now because you're going to put computers in charge, and computers are hackable. And we work with the Girl Scouts. One of the things that we've done is we innovated this, so NSA in their infinite wisdom decided that when you teach cybersecurity, because they're the ones that fund the Gen Cyber program, they said, we want you to make sure that you teach these kids the 10 cybersecurity principles. And what are those 10 cybersecurity principles? Let me see if I can even remember some of them. Process isolation, resource encapsulation, abstraction, all the words that the girls are saying to each other when they're talking about YouTube and all that stuff, right? The most boring word. I can't even get grad students to explain these things. But that was what they mandated. So what we came up with the card game, we had positive female role models of diverse backgrounds. And we had them do hand gestures for each of the items. We then used that as a means for doing all kinds of things. For example, information hiding, which is this, right? It's a simple hand gesture that kind of represents hiding something. I could ask a question about if I encrypt my email so nobody else can read it and then it's secure, what principle is that? And I can ask a crowd, and then I could see all of them do that, and then I know visually that they're all getting that information, right? So this way I can move on to the next one, or I can kind of see whether or not they're getting it. So we do stuff like this. We have a good team of creative educational specialists that help us with this stuff. So here are the girls actually doing some of the hand gestures as a group. We also take them, we have an amazing ropes course, and we take them to do that. Now, some of you are saying, what does that ropes course have to do with cybersecurity? Which is what they said when we wrote the grant. We want to take them to ropes course. Ropes course is about teamwork, team building, communication, and that's all part of cybersecurity, right? Cybersecurity is not one person. It's always working in a team. It also helps us to develop good relationships between people, so that by people who do the ropes course, when the students do the ropes course, for the rest of the time, they're friendlier, they support each other, and it's fun and challenging. One of the things, how do we address this problem that I've mentioned earlier about the disconnect between cybersecurity education and the workforce? I think we can learn something from the military and the medical field, because they both kind of do a similar thing. And in fact, if I say, I'm educating you to be a soldier, I'm educating you to be a doctor, again, that's the same thing as saying I'm educating you to be a cybersecurity professional. Yeah, there are certain basic things that I teach you in the military. There's certain things, you go to med school, everybody learns biology, chemistry, that stuff. Certain things you learn in cybersecurity, but there has to be that middle ground where maybe there's a residency, maybe there's an internship, maybe there's some kind of hands-on experience that's intensive, that forces them to bring to bear all the things that they learned before that they may have forgotten, but it's in a safe enough environment that they can start to figure it out and work their way through it. There has to be that middle piece.